Most people don't realize that there is a tool on the market that records the network at the packet level and provides what we call network history.
If you're basing your business decisions on the data, you'd absolutely better be sure that the data is accurate and that you're actually verifying that that is the case.
The value that the channel brings with the relationships, the territories that they can expand into, they own that. They do this day to day. They do it with multiple vendors. They have multiple touches into these customers. So it is very much that right partner, as you say.
We've done a lot of research into the area, and which means 45% of people are generally happier in 2020 than they have been in previous years. And what does that say about life before 2020, right? That it's taken a global health pandemic for people to be happier about themselves.
So I think the hybrid is probably where it will end up for me. I've felt over the last sort of 5 or 6 weeks where I've been into the office 2 or 3 days a week, some impromptu sessions that I've had with the team members or customers.
In many cases was forced upon people through lockdown, the remote working piece, but if you've established therefore a best practice around how to work with a digital document, as an example, when you are back in the office next year, don't go back to your old habits of printing something off, leaving it on a printer or on a scanner, leaving it on somebody's desk.
So, well, that was an interesting series of podcasts, Ian. Our first series in the bag. What do you think?
I think for complete novices, I think we got some really interesting guests. I particularly really love speaking to a number of the guests about their company culture and the way that they've come on from being, I suppose, startups in the early days. I like to hear the history about a company, and that came through really strong on all the guests that we had on. There was a lot of topical stuff there. I suppose topic that I quite enjoyed talking about because it's been bounded around for ages was talking about the paperless office with Alan from Nitro, because I think we've all talked about the paperless office for the last 10, 15 years. And as my desk is not the tidiest at the best of times, normally covered in some form of paperwork. And I think COVID has pushed us down into this new era, and I think that was quite interesting.
I think picking up on what you said about culture, that definitely seemed to be a theme for the ones that I did and the people that I spoke to. And I'm not sure we initially set out to be talking about culture. It was, we wanted to sort of introduce the people behind these emerging technologies that we work with. But I think given the situation with us all having to work from home, we're almost forced into this change, and the culture side of things became really relevant. And I liked some of the personal stories about how people's working weeks had changed. It really resonated based on my own experience. And, you were stuck in a room somewhere, maybe thinking, oh, how's everybody else getting on with this? And that came across for me. So there was quite a good balance of a bit of technology conversation, but that personal insight as well. And there was a real mix from my point of view. Some of the podcasts were very much about the people, and then other ones were more of a deeper dive into technology. The one that reminds me of getting out of my depth technically effectively was Dave Russell from Grafana in episode number 6. That was like a real education for me. I wanted to learn more from his expertise, and he was a well-experienced podcaster, plugged his own on ours, which seems to be how people do it. And it was great to learn from him, his professionalism in podcasts. So I've taken something away from that, and I think that'll be useful for going forward.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it is quite interesting, though, that the cultures of these companies, that as they progress, how they change and how they evolve. I suppose things like geographical location impacts innovation really as well. And I think that's quite key. But I suppose what we wanted to do and what we set out to achieve was to get the voice of our vendors across to our partners and our clients. I suppose coming back to, in terms of other ones that I really enjoyed, speaking to John from Endace, something very topical in terms of the product that they have, in terms of being able to see what's going on in the network, like CCTV, replaying back where there was a problem so that they can identify it and move really quickly to solve potentially an attack. Obviously, cybersecurity is something that's really topical these days. You can't see the press on a weekly basis without seeing that there's been a large corporate that has a ransomware attack or some other attack. And I think John was really able to explain a highly technical solution to somebody who's really not technical at all, who doesn't profess to be technical to that level anyway.
There was certainly a theme of innovation. We knew when we invited these people on as guests throughout the series that they were all from vendors bringing something new and disruptive and emerging to the market. So that was always going to be a part of it. But yeah, I enjoyed getting to know the people at the same time as well. So now that's finished, if we were to go on and do it again, is there any lessons you've taken from it, Ian, that you'll go away and maybe listen to other podcasts and try and think of? What are you going to do now after this experience?
For me, it would be to perhaps have a theme in terms of the topic, because we started off in lockdown, and again, the objective was just to give our vendors a voice, because we weren't able to work with them in the usual ways. I think we perhaps need to invest in some better quality kit if we're going to do it again, because I think it's a better user experience or for the audience. But I also think what we should do is to perhaps try and, with that theme, we should try and get everybody's opinion from different sectors of the industry, not just perhaps from our vendors, but speak to our customers, to our partners, to different sectors. And then perhaps at the end of that, we'll try and summarize what that means for various different people. I think, yeah, we'll do it differently next time if we're going to do it.
Sounds like a good idea. Seems that you're not too scarred from this first experience. So yeah, a little bit of a break from it and we go again, I think.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and learning from it was quite key. I've learnt new things. I never thought I'd be doing anything like this. And you're speaking to people from different backgrounds, different company cultures, and you're learning from that, then why not do it again?
I agree. Every day's a school day. Taken a lot from it. Would love to do it again.
Thank you so much for listening to this series of ASM Connected. I hope you enjoyed all the episodes we've had throughout the series. And if you want to find out more about what we do here at ASM, go to asmtech.com and make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed for the next series of the pod.